Afternoon puffins, it's time for the afternoon challenge, and we're going to do it in the bathroom. Alright, just so you'll know, you guys are actually all sat on my toilet. Make sure you flush and wash your hands. Thank goodness. Actually, one thing about school that I won't miss is what you guys are like in the bathroom after lunch. Alright, we're going to do a science experiment this afternoon in the bathroom. So in my bath, I filled a container with water. This is something you almost have to do with your parents because you shouldn't be playing near water by yourself, and don't fill up the bath unless an adult's with you, okay? I've done it in a container to save water. So there is my container of water, and I've chosen one that we can see through the side so that you can see what happens in the experiment. So my container is transparent, which is a science word because we're doing a science experiment, which means the light can travel through it, so that means we can see through. So we can see through this container. So what we're going to do, we're going to see if we can find things in the house and test to see if they float or sink. So on the floor, I've got 2 different colour towels and I've got a label. This one says, let's read it, floats, floats. And this one says, sinks. And I've collected together some objects that I know I'm allowed to put in the water. Nothing here is breakable and nothing here is expensive, and they're all my things. So I definitely have permission. So before you choose things that you're going to test this afternoon, make sure you've checked with an adult, please. So to test if it floats or sinks, we're going to get an object and we're going to place the object in the container of water. Before we do that though, all scientists, before they carry an experiment, make a prediction. And a prediction is a sensible guess, really. You've got to use your knowledge, what you know, your experiences, things about the object, and make a decision yourself. So I've got to decide, do I think the object will float or sink before I put it into the water? Now, I'm just going to get my science coat. Now I'm ready, I've got my science coat on. So let's see if I can make a prediction. I predict that this pencil is going to float. And the reason I think that is because it's light and it reminds me of a log, and I've seen logs, which are of course made of wood like this pencil, floating on rivers. So I think this will float. Right, now I'm going to predict about the spoon. What do you think before I say what I think? What do you think? Do you think it will float or sink? And why? What's your reason? Because it's not that heavy actually, it's quite light. But I'm going to use my experience of washing up, and when I put spoons in the water, they always sink to the bottom of the bowl. So I predict this spoon, made of metal, is going to sink. Right, my next object is the Iron Giant. Although he's not so giant, is he? It's made of plastic, guys. It's quite small. It's quite light. What do you predict? Will the Iron Giant float or sink? There's no holes for the water to get in, so I'm going to predict float. Oh my gosh, right, next, an apple. Can eat this in a bit. Listen to that. It's pretty heavy, isn't it? Heavy things usually sink, don't they? So I predict that it's going to sink. What do you think? Right, scientists then, got their predictions. Let's have a look what I put. So I predict that the pencil and the Iron Giant's going to float, and the apple and the spoon will sink. Now the best bit about science is doing the science. So I'm going to put all the objects back on the side, and we're going to put them one at a time into the container, and we'll see if they float or sink. I wonder how I'll know if they're floating or sinking. What do you think will happen? If I told you something was floating, what would it look like in the water? Tell your brother, sister, or your mum or dad, or even the hamster, while I get my things ready. So there's my objects ready, and scientists make predictions, but they get it wrong lots and lots and lots, and that, just like any learning, is absolutely fine. That's why they do experiments. If they didn't do the experiments, they wouldn't know, would they? So let's start with the pencil, and I predicted that it would float. Let's see, what do you think? Put it in the water. Show you down the side. Where is the pencil in the container? It's at the top of the water, it's on the surface. Because it's on the surface and it hasn't gone down below the surface, apart from a little bit where it's just under there, I think that means it floats. Let's put it on the float side. Now let's do one that I predicted would sink, and that's the spoon, wasn't it? And I use my knowledge, because when you wash up, the cutlery usually goes to the bottom of the washing bowl. Here we go. What, did you hear that? Where in the container is the spoon? Look, it's sunk right to the bottom. Actually, because it's a bit murky now and you can't see in it so well. Look at that, goodness me. Right, let's pick it up. So I'm going to put it on the sink. Down. Right, when I put the spoon in and we tried to look down the side of the container, because it was slightly blurry and we couldn't see as clear as I thought, instead of saying the container is transparent, we'd say it's translucent, because it's letting lots of light through, but maybe not just all of it, and it looks slightly blurry. Right, on to the next object. Right, I predicted the Iron Giant would float. What did you guys think? Right, I think it's going to float because it's light and it's made of plastic. Let's see, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's have a look. Can you see? All of it's more transparent at the top. Can you see he's definitely floating? Look, he's on the surface. It looks like he's having a swim, doing the backstroke. So I'm going to put him on the float side. Look, all my predictions are right so far. Just a super scientist. Last one, an apple. So definitely going to sink because it is so heavy. What do you guys think? Let's do a countdown from 10, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ready for the big splash? Huh? Uh-oh. Look. That heavy apple is actually floating on the surface. Oh. So I didn't predict that one right. Oh, I should have used my experience of Halloween, because when you bob for apples, they always float, don't they? So I'm going to have to add this one to the float side. So this afternoon in my experiment, I predicted 3 things correctly, and I learned that an apple does float. 3 things that float, and 1 thing that sank. Right, your turn now. As long as you do it with somebody sensible. What have you got in your house? What can you predict? What can you find out? What floats and sinks in your house? I look forward to seeing it on Tapestry. I'm now off to find the spider and hopefully use your ideas from yesterday. get rid of it. Bye.